Rhino back with another incredible PSA reveal. Hope everyone's enjoying the awards that are coming out. I think the Trout thing was a no-brainer, particularly after the Bregman bat flip. But I was disappointed in Cody Bellinger for sure. I'm not a fan. But hey, what are you going to do? I have some really cool stuff for you today, some vintage and some cards that you might really like. I think it's primarily vintage. I really am enjoying Filmington and some of these other quote-unquote folks that are focused on investing in the hobby. And I get a real kick out of that because, it's like everybody has an opinion, everybody has a backside. So I might throw some of those things in myself. But right before you hear, I think these were all bought raw on the internet. Not your best, but I love the 54 Tops set. And so anyway, it's high graded, and even 4s and 5s of players is pretty expensive. So I do try to find a good raw copy and see what it gets. I mean, it's $8 to slab it. Until PSA changes that, that's a heck of a good way to add value to your collection, I think. But the first one here is Hoyt Wilhelm, who is a Hall of Famer, and a PSA 5. Nice collector's grade there. I love this insignia down up at the, on each of those cards. It's so vintage looking. And then you have the two pictures of the player and an autograph on the card. So it's all in. They're just great cards. Great gear. And then, you're not looking for 4s. I mean, let's face it. But this is Grady Hatton. I love the Cincinnati Red Leg up in the top left there. In a PSA 4. This was actually a childhood card that I had. So, not bad. Wally Moon. I think that's kind of a fun card. That's the unibrow time and place in life, for sure. Before they had the max grooming tools that we all take advantage of now. PSA 5. This one I was really happy with. When you buy something raw like this, you're like, oh crap, I sure hope it's not trimmed. But that is a nice card. They're not going to give it a 5. 5s are incredibly expensive in that card, but I'll take the 4. The surface wasn't good enough, I don't think. The centering is so nice. I love Elite Co. 3's strategy of just trying to find centered vintage, regardless of condition, and slabbing them. I think that's smart because, again, nobody can afford a PSA 8 in that card, or a 7 for that matter. So, beautiful card. And then if I can find 52s just because of its popularity that look decent to me, I try to pick them up for cheap. And this is the Ellis Kinder black back and a PSA 5. Nice collector's grade for that card. And you'll notice they're a little bigger. They seem taller. I think they might be, for those of you who are experts at it. A lot of folks collect that 52 set. This is Merrill Combs, and that's a black back PSA 4. But note how well centered it is, and so I think that makes a lot of sense to try to. And I love the Cleveland Indian insignia down at the bottom there. You won't see that ever again on cards or any memorabilia, uniforms, nothing moving forward. So there you go. And then you have Ralph Hawk and a PSA 5. He's a Yankee, obviously. And, I'd rather have the 4 I just showed you than that, because this one, look how off-center and how poorly cut that card is. But the surface of it was elite. So that's why I received the PSA 5. Yeah, baby. Well, anyway, getting back to my original comments, I'm sure someone has heard me say before, I'd sell Victor Robles. I'd sell Yonder Alvarez, big time. Look at that beautiful card. That's orange back, Bobby Adams, great surface, Cincinnati Red Leg. Just love that red leg insignia up at the top left. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. You know, and a friend of mine actually made an argument that you should sell all your Tatis. And I, before you turn the video off, hear me out. What is the number one thing that a lot of trainers and scouts and other people who determine talent look for as a concern? Well, it's obviously staying healthy. That's a generality, but soft tissue injuries. That's something that is indicative of somebody that can't hold up under the stress of 162 games. And obviously, it's been a short period of time, but there's a lot of concern that Tatis is that kind of player. He's an elite, athletically gifted person, but may not be able to play seasons like Trout has, Arenado has, people like that. This is Al Smith, 5.5. Again, I'll meet this tremendous half grader that haunts me every time I submit to PSA. But again, I love the Indian insignia up at the top there. Great card, great service. I love the yellows and the oranges in this set. So Tatis, I would, after hearing that and really thinking about it, I would probably, given his prices right now, I mean, are you kidding me? I'd probably sell most of my Tatises if, depending the comp-based structure here, and obviously these opinions are my own, you shouldn't act on. We're just having a discussion, but versus Vladimir Guerrero Jr. might be a buy just because he doesn't even have a workout routine. If you go to the internet and look at some of the things, he never worked out until the farm system put him on a weight training program and things of that nature. So he's never really taken care of himself, and swings for the hills and did the home run derby. A lot of things that where you could get an injury, and he has not. So something to think about there. This is Mike Sandlock in a beautiful PSA 6, and that card is sweet. Again, you know, these are not great players, but I just love slabbing the 50 cards. Here's another one, a Bob Turley. And you just can't beat the coloring and the old-fashioned nature of them. You know, they just look so vintage. The Orioles insignia up there, look at that thing. It's historical. I love that stuff. Just love it. Here is Josiah Hurd in a 6, another great grade for a 54 card. I did look at a couple of these 6s I had, and I don't know how you get a 7 in that, but just for the record, 6s I will take. Investment grade, barely investment grade, but they're nice. And here is Bill Glenn, another Indian, PSA 6. I just love it. Just love them. And one day I'll be able to get the Ted Williams in this card. This is the lone 7 that I've been able to achieve in the Indians. Obviously, I was focusing on some Red Legs and Cincinnati Reds and Indians. But I do love those yellows, and you could just tell from the camera that surface is elite, and I think that's what brings it to the 7 level. And this one was absolutely sweet. I love this dude, and I don't know if you've ever seen any pictures of him, but pre-steroids, this dude was put together. He looked like he would routinely bend steel. Yeah, you should check out some of the old photos online. They're just like, this dude was crazy. But it was a beautifully centered card. Edges and surface I was a little concerned about. I was so happy to get a 5 because, again, it's just a great card. Great card. And here, this is the educational part of our video today. This card is perfectly centered. It's one of the best I've ever seen. And so I submitted it knowing it had a small wrinkle. And I think it's right up in here. I don't know, given the video quality, if you can see. But 2 things. If you're going to produce or submit any card to PSA that has a wrinkle, a fold, or any kind of paper damage at all, you need to temper your expectations. They are punitive. you're going to receive a very bad grade. So it might be worth just going with asking for authentic grade or non-trim grade or something. I don't know. I think it's just authentic, because that card right there, look how well it presents in that slab. And obviously they poked me in the eye with the half grade, but it's ridiculous that that card is a 2.5. Now it does have a wrinkle, but it's a beautiful card of the fifth. So anyway, I hope I'm giving you some hints as to, I don't want a 2.5, you know, of that beautiful card. That's just a beautiful card. So, and then I made the same mistake on this one. It's even more severe. I don't remember exactly where the paper fly is, but another card doesn't show quite as well as the Duke Snyder did. But look at that, Phil Rizzuto. That's the first card in the set at a 2. And the card looks fantastic, but has, again, a little wrinkle in it. I mean, these aren't creases, these are wrinkles. And yeah, going to be punitive. So, hope that's helpful. All right, this will crack folks up, just to the fact that I have so much time on my hands. But this is a BGS Bust Out 3, and it got a PSA 3. And you know, the centering's bad, but I thought that the picture looked really good, and I love Hammer and Hank. Very nice. All right, and 2 more coming. This is a Reds. I do like to collect old Reds if I can. This was a card I had as a kid, and got a spell 4.5. Again, I just love the half grades. I name another guy on YouTube that has more half grades than Ball Rhino. It's just so stupid. And then we have, lastly, I don't know, I might show one more, but that there is just an absolute beaut. Joe Coleman, PSA 2. That was also a childhood card, for sure. I love that. I just love the design of the 53 too. Not quite as much as 54. Then we're gonna finish with this one here. This obviously I collect PC, collect Clemente, but this is the update 28 Topps update variation, and I've started to collect that because that set is probably the most popular set I've seen in the last decade or so, and I love the pictures of that set. Obviously the Acuna and some of the others are pretty tough to justify right now, but maybe they'll come back around. I don't do many sets, but I kind of like this one. I hope everybody has a great day. I appreciate you tuning in. Take care.